Your morning blood sugar reading is not just about what you ate for dinner last night. It is about what your liver did while you were sleeping. And if you are waking up every morning with fasting numbers that are higher than when you went to bed, even after eating carefully, even after cutting carbs, the problem is not your willpower. It is a biological process called the dawn phenomenon. And 1 tablespoon of a common kitchen ingredient taken before bed may be one of the most effective and underused tools for interrupting it. I am not revealing what that ingredient is just yet, because first, I need to show you exactly why your liver is betraying you every single night. And once you understand that mechanism, what I am about to recommend will make complete sense. Stay with me. If you have ever checked your blood sugar before bed and seen a reasonable number, say 118 or 122, and then woken up to 140 or higher without eating anything overnight, you have experienced the dawn phenomenon firsthand. Here is exactly what is happening inside your body during those hours. In the early morning, typically between 2 a.m. and 8 a.m., your body releases a surge of counter-regulatory hormones, cortisol, glucagon, and growth hormone as part of its natural wake-up preparation cycle. These hormones signal your liver to release stored glucose into the bloodstream to give you energy for the day ahead. In a healthy metabolic system, the pancreas responds with enough insulin to keep that liver glucose dump under control. But in seniors with insulin resistance, which affects the majority of adults over 60 to some degree, the pancreas cannot respond fast enough, and that liver glucose floods the bloodstream unchecked. The result is a fasting blood sugar reading that is paradoxically higher in the morning than it was at bedtime. This is not a diet failure. This is a hormonal and hepatic mechanism, and fixing it requires a very targeted intervention. So what does that intervention look like? It needs to do one specific thing: reach your liver before that early morning hormone surge begins and tell it to slow down its overnight glucose output. And the ingredient that does this, through a mechanism that is now supported by multiple peer-reviewed studies, is something sitting in most people's kitchen cabinets right now. It is apple cider vinegar, 1 tablespoon, before bed. And the science behind why it works on this specific problem is more impressive than most people realize. The active compound in apple cider vinegar is acetic acid, and acetic acid has a well-documented effect on a liver enzyme called AMP-activated protein kinase, AMPK. When AMPK is activated in the liver, it acts as a metabolic brake on glucose production. It essentially tells the liver to slow down its overnight glucose output, which is precisely the process driving elevated fasting numbers in people with the dawn phenomenon. A study published in Diabetes Care found that subjects who consumed apple cider vinegar before bed showed significantly lower fasting glucose levels the following morning compared to the placebo group, with the most pronounced effect in people who already had elevated fasting numbers. This is not a general blood sugar benefit. This is a targeted, overnight hepatic glucose suppression effect, and it works through a different mechanism than most diabetes medications, which is why some people see results from this even when their medication has plateaued. Acetic acid also improves insulin sensitivity at the cellular level by supporting GLUT4 transporter activity. GLUT4 is the protein channel that opens up on your muscle and fat cells to allow glucose to enter when insulin gives the signal. In insulin-resistant individuals, those GLUT4 channels are sluggish and under-responsive. Acetic acid has been shown in multiple studies to upregulate GLUT4 expression, meaning it helps more of those channels open in response to insulin. For seniors who are producing adequate insulin, but whose cells have simply stopped listening to it properly, this mechanism is a game changer. There is a third mechanism that rarely gets discussed, and it may be the most immediately noticeable for your daily numbers. Apple cider vinegar slows gastric emptying, the rate at which food leaves your stomach and enters the small intestine where carbohydrates are broken down into glucose. When gastric emptying is slowed, glucose from a meal enters your bloodstream gradually rather than in a single large wave. This directly reduces post-meal blood sugar spikes, which in turn reduces the compensatory insulin surge, the energy crash, and the hunger cycle that drives poor food choices later in the day. The directional effect is consistent across multiple trials: slower digestion, flatter glucose curve, more stable energy throughout the day. Now let's talk about exactly how to take this correctly, because preparation and timing are everything. The correct protocol is 1 to 2 tablespoons of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar. You must see the cloudy sediment at the bottom of the bottle, called the mother, because that is where the concentrated acetic acid and beneficial enzymes live. Diluted in a full 8 ounces of water. Never take it straight. Undiluted apple cider vinegar is acidic enough to erode tooth enamel and irritate the esophageal lining, particularly in seniors who already have reflux. Always dilute it, drink through a straw when possible, and wait at least 30 minutes before brushing your teeth. The timing for targeting fasting blood sugar specifically is 30 to 60 minutes before bed. This gives the acetic acid enough time to reach the liver and begin activating the AMPK pathway before the peak dawn phenomenon hormone surge begins. Some people see a difference within 3 to 5 days. For others with more advanced insulin resistance, it may take 2 to 3 weeks of consistent nightly use. Consistency is the entire game. A single dose does nothing. The mechanism requires sustained acetic acid exposure over time to produce lasting changes in how your liver behaves overnight. Now, the mistake that makes apple cider vinegar completely ineffective, and the reason most people who try this give up after 2 weeks thinking it does not work. The single most common error is taking it with or immediately after a meal. When taken with food, the gastric emptying effect is triggered, useful for post-meal spikes. But the hepatic AMPK activation that targets overnight liver glucose output is diluted and delayed by the digestive process. For fasting blood sugar, the before-bed empty stomach timing is not optional. It is the mechanism. The second mistake is using filtered, clear apple cider vinegar with the mother removed. Without it, the acetic acid concentration is lower, and the enzymatic compounds that drive the metabolic effect are simply not there. Always choose raw, unfiltered, with visible cloudiness or sediment in the bottle. Here is what I want you to leave with today. If your morning blood sugar has been stubbornly high despite your best efforts, your liver is likely the driver, and most dietary changes do not directly address what the liver does at 3 a.m. 1 tablespoon of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar in 8 ounces of water, taken 30 to 60 minutes before bed, activates a hepatic glucose brake that specifically targets that overnight output. Dilute it always. Use the mother. Time it on an empty stomach. Monitor your response. And if you are on blood sugar medication, loop in your doctor first. If this gave you a clearer picture of what is actually driving your morning numbers, share it with someone who is fighting the same battle every single day. In the next video, I am covering the 5 breakfast mistakes that undo every good blood sugar decision you made the night before. And the first one will genuinely surprise you. I will see you there.